Hello there. So, today we're going to do a little discussion about Gemini season. So, we are in Gemini season right now. We are transitioning to Cancer season, I believe fairly soon, around like maybe the 22nd or so. And I was kind of thinking about Gemini season and what it really brings up for us. I personally don't really enjoy the energy of Gemini season. I don't really have any Gemini placements in my chart, so it's not like a very comfortable energy for me. I think that it's very chaotic. It moves super fast. It's a lot, but Gemini is represented by the twins, right? So I was thinking about how the things that come up during Gemini season usually have to do with childhood trauma, possibly, our relationship with our higher self, and our relationship with our past and future self. So essentially, when we think about the twins in Gemini, it's almost like we're talking about this version of ourselves compared to another version of ourselves. And I think during this season, people start to evaluate their higher self, and they start to evaluate whether they've been living in accordance with like the highest good, their healthiest life, their best life, or whether they need to heal maybe past versions of themselves with childhood trauma, um, really confronting things that you may have confronted before many a time. Um, it could also be the fact that we have had this Mercury retrograde energy lingering and going on, as well as this eclipse energy lingering and going on that has required a lot of deep, like, healing. I believe Chiron is in Aries, and there's been a lot of Mars in Aries aspects going on right now. So I feel like there's just a lot of tension between not only the different versions of ourselves, like the person we used to be versus the person we are now, the person we want to be versus the person we are now. It seems like there's a lot of really challenging dynamics with that where we might be forcing so hard and confronting this and kind of running into a wall with it. And the biggest advice is to be really patient with the healing, because right now it seems maybe a little bit frustrating, a little mucky, and a little stuck, but there will be forward movement. And I would say that the Cancer energy that is approaching will also supply a lot of really healing, childhood related, like childhood related healing. A lot of people equate the summer to this kind of reset, relaxation, rebirth. Cancer season brings us in to true summer. All the cardinal signs usher us in to this true summer, while Gemini kind of exits us from that. So as we transition between these two energies, the emotions do become overwhelming. The waves are creeping in slowly but surely, and we are adjusting to our emotions, our newfound healing, and whether we're going to drown in our emotions or be patient with ourselves. So I have my tarot book, so I'm gonna flip to the Lovers, because it is represented by Gemini, and I think it might supply a little bit of information that can help us as we exit Gemini season. So trials and options that may be linked to relationships. The most common image for the lovers is a young man, this is the deck just so you can read it, is a young man standing between two women as if making a choice between them. The women may depict the paths of vice and virtue, as one woman is young and seductive while the other looks older and wiser. So this is, like I said, this is about your higher self and your childhood self as well. Even your teenage self too, you could throw that into the occasion also, because they say that once you start healing your child self and forming that playful, healthy relationship with your childhood self, that then you have to take on your teenager self. So this could indicate a choice between mother and lover and the dilemma of separation. So also, in a lot of ways, black and white thinking, I think, would also be an issue that can arise during this season. Sometimes a winged cupid flies above, pointing an arrow at the young man's heart to influence his choice. In some decks, the cupid is blindfolded. Love is said to be blind, but in others, the man must make his own choice and therefore take the consequences of that choice. And the really interesting thing is I feel like this season, because it is so airy and like, I believe mutable, that it lends to a lot of overthinking and confusion. I've been telling a lot of people to really avoid making really like intense decisions, because it will settle, you know. So in the Wait deck, the image shows Adam and Eve making this decision about whether to disobey God and eat the forbidden fruit of knowledge, or to obey him and remain in ignorant bliss. So it is about illusions and disillusionment. So the Lover's card encourages you to consider your options and prepare to make a decision. The blind Cupid indicates that our method for making choices may not always be well informed, and is heavily weighted in favor of what we desire rather than what might be good for us. The wise approach is to consider the consequences of the choice, as well as looking what will accompany whichever decision is made. So yes, especially right now, coming out of a retrograde, being post-shadow, this transition from confusion to like even more emotion, do not make emotional decisions, you know, because if all of a sudden you're like, I want to break up with him, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, it's like you might regret it. So, you know, really think before you act, and think about, is this an emotion that is truly going to last forever, or is this just a momentary thing that has just arrived? So, for example, when Adam and Eve chose to eat the fruit of knowledge, they had to accept that death would be an inevitable consequence of that decision. Death as in this situation, because we're not talking about actual death. Ooh, there was a dragonfly. Spirit is crazy in their communication, because the dragonfly is the transformative aspect of death. And literally, a dragonfly is born in water, right? They're born in water. They live on the water, but they also live in the air. Seems pretty Gemini Cancer related to me. So the choices indicated by this card aren't restricted to love affairs or relationships. But when the Lovers appears in a reading, it is clear that the decision in question will have great personal relevance, so it's vital to take great care. So, what's the message with the Lovers as it relates to Gemini season? What's the advice for really getting the most out of Gemini season? It is to be wary of our emotional impulses and the decisions that we're making, and being careful with them, because you don't want to have a premature closing of a chapter, or premature ending, when really you might be able to just transform things from where you are right now by being patient and taking baby steps. So now, to kind of get more information about Cancer season, we're going to look into the Chariot, and it does come right after the Lovers in tarot. So the Chariot is triumph over difficulties, struggles, and battles, and usually with a positive outcome. It's usually like a pretty positive card because of its movement. So the symbolism of this major arcana card is that there's two horses pulling in opposite directions. In one that appears frequently in the Chariot, the card symbolizes a struggle between two forces, both of which are strong and valid. Also, the twins, the good, the bad, the duality of there being many versions of yourself. So these opposites are strong and valid in both of their desires. So usually one of the horses is black and the other is white to indicate their opposing natures. And it is the task of the charioteer to keep those forces under control. Some decks show a sphinx, which is a symbol of an enigma. The theme of the Chariot is the balancing of opposites. This is a common issue that appears in many cards of the major arcana. The Chariot is often linked with gods of war desires, such as the Greek Ares. The horse-drawn chariot is an image of battle, and we are in battle in a lot of ways with a lot of the Aries energy that has been going on astrologically that has made us a bit fiery, I would say. So the horse signifies war and was initially given to mankind by Poseidon, god of the oceans. So let's think of Poseidon and the oceans and how that relates to Cancer. You know, Cancer being the crab, Cancer can be avoidant and move sideways just like a crab does. So often, Cancers, to me, they have like this essence of like I don't know why I'm thinking of like the strength card, in that they need the guts. They need the guts to assert themselves, and oftentimes they retreat into their shell where the crabby mush underneath. But Cancers are so intelligent. They actually did studies recently about how crabs can feel pain. So when we eat crabs, and kill them or whatever, they feel the pain. So that's a little alarming. But yeah, Cancers feel a lot of pain. And that's why like a lot of the pain, because Cancer also relates a lot to the moon and the mother. So it's about mothering yourself and mothering your inner child. So these themes are just very prevalent right now. The Chariot suggests a state of inner conflict in a reading. The fact that the charioteer is clearly having trouble keeping his horses in control is an indication that his feelings are in opposition. He needs to steer a middle course, but that isn't easy, especially during an emotional roller coaster, an ocean of emotions that is happening. So this may translate into something simple. For instance, one part of you wants to relax while the other half wants to get on and complete a task. Rhymed a little bit. This leads to an internal battle, the outcome of which is often that neither side achieves a satisfactory result. So it's almost like a battle that has no winner and no victor, because you're just battling the different versions of yourself that Gemini provided. This like, I don't know, dissociative fugue kind of, where like there's just so many versions of yourself saying, what if this, what if that, or what about this that happened to you, what about that happened to you, and you're just like looking all over the place with all these options, like Seven of Cups energy, and saying like, I don't even know what to focus on, I don't even know what to heal. So yeah, it's about finding the middle ground and finding the balance. So this card could also mean that there are conflicts and struggles between you and those around you. An element of compromise may be necessary, whether the dispute is internal or external. The Chariot is a passionate card. It suggests that your feeling of desire is inflamed. A sense of common balance is needed to create a state of stability. So, I'm going to end this with a little tidbit about resentment and forgiveness, because I feel like that's what's coming up a bit, and it's very normal for that energy of anger to resurface with all these dynamics floating around in the universe, in the abyss right now. But essentially, to steer the middle path, you have to acknowledge that, yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm upset. But not to be black and white with how you look at other people. Um, if you're feeling the need to retreat, um, you know, take a day, take a shower, eat something, um, go for a drive by yourself. I know gas prices are insane, but take a day for you, come back to yourself, and maybe you'll be a little bit less concerned with everybody else. That's my advice to you. If people aren't living up to your expectations, if you're feeling a little bit left out in the cold, just know that it doesn't last forever, and that it just shows how much more that you need to be giving to yourself. And yeah, that may make you resentful. Like, why do I have to do all the work? Why do I have to do all of this? It's because it's your life and it's your responsibility. And for you to get to where you want to go, you got to do the work on your own. It's no one else's job. They're doing their own work too. And if they're not doing their own work, that's their fucking choice. All right? So good luck to you with this transition from Gemini to Cancer season. This is going to be really big for our healing and really, really positive, but also challenging. So please take it easy on yourself, okay? If you want to book a personal reading, you can message me on Instagram at Sid the Space Kid. You could also access me at Lucid Tarot, Lucid Lou _ Sid _ Tarot. And that is also my TikTok handle, and I do take donations because I'm trying to make this a full-time thing, and I need, help. So, at Sid _ Ray, is my Venmo. S and the R are capital. Yeah, give me your support, like, share, follow, and all of that dumb stuff.